This is Sean with Gate City Foundation Drainage. We're on a job today in Greensboro. So let me show you what we've got going on here. So we've got this front yard here that basically floods, and you can see how it's got a slight grade down to the front there. And so a couple things going on. The driveway is coming down this way. These two gutters here, this one and this one back here, are just dumping right there in the front. The water's got nowhere to go. We do have a drainage basin over here, and these two gutters are piped through terracotta, and the customer checked on those. So those are still working, and they're draining to that drainage basin. So what we're going to do here is we are simply going to take these two gutters and pipe them across here into this drainage basin. And so the customer was asking me when I came out to do the quote, you know, what kind of guarantee, what kind of warranty, that kind of stuff. And we had talked quite a bit out here on the day of the quote, and I said, you know, is there water coming off the driveway? Where's the water coming from, kind of thing. And so I said, basically, for my guarantee, basically what I'm guaranteeing is that we're going to take the gutter water out of the equation and that my pipes won't clog. And so you have to be kind of careful on situations like this where the customer spends a bunch of money and thinks that you're solving their problem 100% when you have multiple sources of water. And we're only addressing one of those, probably the biggest one, and I feel good that this will definitely greatly alleviate the problems here. So that's what we're doing today. So this wire right here is from the satellite dish that's no longer in use. So they put it through a conduit and just kind of ran it across there. That was their solution to crossing the driveway. The trickiest part of this job was getting our fall correct. So you can see hopefully in the video that the driveway is pretty flat, the front yard's pretty flat, and so I'm just starting out here. I brought the mini excavator on this job, even though we just had a small amount of digging to do. Bringing this machine out, it makes such an incredibly huge difference with the amount of labor. And so I've only got me, myself, and Ronald on the job today. So just two of us, and so I made the decision. Of course, you can see I'm using a 6-inch trenching bucket right there. I forgot to put my 12-inch bucket on there. But even so, that having that machine out there makes it much easier. What I'm working on here is I'm trying to get this drainage basin exposed. Ronald is over there trying to get his pipe and everything all staged and ready to go. And so this is an important part because this is pretty much our set point that we are going to be trying to get to. So getting this exposed, you'll see in a minute too that we go ahead and core this thing. And so it's just a good starting point. All right, you good to go for a minute?
Yeah, boss, thank you.
When we are trying to achieve fall, you can either come up at the top of the pipe or you can go down at the bottom. Those are the only two ways to achieve fall. And so when you have a really flat area like this, coming up and staying high at the very start of the run is free. You can achieve fall for free by doing that. And so we mitigate that here by basically putting more mulch over top of the pipe. So some customers will paint the pipe, some will put mulch over it. But this, again, you don't want to trench it here because you're going to be starting out so deep that you have to be falling even deeper. And so we do this to achieve our fall here. And you can see Ronald with that little riser right there. That helps to keep the water in some head pressure. Here we are at our next gutter. This is the second gutter that we're catching in that Street 45. So when you put a Y and a Street 45 together, that's called a combination Y. And it's basically a sanitary tee with a little bit more sweep to it. And so you're going to see here in a minute when Ronald gets cleaning up, we've got a ton of fittings out here, and I carry a ton of fittings on the truck, and my guys know that whatever they need to brainstorm it, to try to figure out what's going to happen. I had started out in this instance with a different fitting, and Ronald came by and was like, oh, I like the way this one's working better. And when that kind of stuff happens, it's like, go with it, you know, whatever, however you're going to get the job done the best. And so you see all those fittings in the background there. We had a bunch of 22s, and we were trying to figure out our angle and just brainstorming and trying to figure out the best way to get this done. And luckily I carry all these fittings. My guys feel free to use whatever they need. If I have a general idea of how it's going to go and they get in there and see that's not quite working, they feel free to change it and get it done the best way. So what's happening here is we're moving from this natural area into the grass. And so we're going to be transitioning from pretty much on the surface to going down under the grass, and we're trying to make that a nice seamless transition, and we're trying to maintain and help to achieve our fall going through there. So you can see me barely getting in there, and then once I get a little bit further out, I go down a little bit deeper. And getting your fall right is very, very tricky. And so all my guys carry levels. We oftentimes will trench it, throw our pipe in there, it's not falling the way we want it to, so we're trenching it again, or we're hand trenching it, or doing whatever it takes to get it done. Log sit on the thing. Good. Yeah, I think so. Here I am running the trench from the corner there at that last gutter to the drainage basin. You can see that basically the B line across there is interfering with the walkway, so we had to pull up some of those little paving stones there. Also, take a look, this is a third-person trencher view. Take a look at the camera that's on a magnet mount right there by my left hand. So that will be the first-person trencher coming up here in a second. But this was a pretty tricky trench because, again, we just didn't have a lot of fall there, and so what you're trying to do is you're trying to create your fall by going deeper as you go on. And so, you know, I don't really know of a great way to do this besides trenching it, throwing a pipe in there, and fine-tuning it. We are making pretty good progress here, and I wanted to show you really quickly. We're coming out across here with regular schedule 40, and then once we get to the driveway here, we don't have a whole lot of fall down to the drainage basin, so we can't go too deep over here. So at the driveway, we're going to transition into this gray pipe here. Now this is schedule 40 rigid PVC conduit, and I'm not sure if this is electrical conduit or what it is, but it is god awful heavy. So it is super solid and it's super strong, so we're going to use this for under the driveway portion. We're making our way down through here, and we're trying to keep our fall right, not get too deep. But I wanted to show you right here up against this basin, we got all these tree roots. So I wasn't expecting that, although there's a tree right there, so maybe it's not surprising. We are just about finished with this job, and we're going to run some water through this new pipe and see how we did.
Any more hose left, or is that it?
I thought you were going to have enough. That's it. All right. We still have to rake out all this gravel, kind of feather that out. And there it is. You got it. Drop it in the other one. Yeah, that's it. We're just getting cleaned up, getting everything strapped back down, so I wanted to show you really quickly again. This whole driveway is kind of sloping into the house here, and we just didn't really have a lot of fall going to the drainage basin. And so you guys know that if you want to have fall, you can either come up over here or you can go down over here. And so coming up over here is free. So we left this pipe above ground. They have got some pine needles in here, so they're going to cover that back up with pine needles. So we're starting out as high as we possibly can. So there's one of the bales of pine needles. There's another one over there. Anyway, we're starting out as high as we possibly can over here. And then once we hit the yard, we're now starting to go down. And because it's so flat here, we really needed to stay high up here to achieve our fall down here. And so I think this is going to work really well for taking all that gutter water completely out of this area. So now we just need some rain. I am back out here. It's the next day. It's been raining for probably a couple hours or so, and I wanted to check on this system. So looks like we got a pretty decent amount of water coming out of there. It's flowing. So we need to wait until we get some more rain to see how this area is looking. But as far as the gutter water, it's going through there. Yep. I'm back out here. It's later in the same day. It's been raining all day today. So I wanted to check on this again. And notice now there's standing water. And very little standing water up against the house. So like I always say, taking that gutter water out of the equation can make a huge difference. I was over doing some work for Cameron today, doing some finish grading, and we were chatting about my channel. And he suggested that I do a little bit more narrating over some of the time-lapse stuff. And so I tried to do that in today's video. So I wanted to ask you all, what do you think about that? Do you like the narration where I'm kind of talking about what's going on? Or do you just like the sped up with the music kind of thing? So let me know in the comments on how you'd like to see future videos go. Thanks.